Good morning. Welcome to day 9 of There's No Christmas Without the Cross Shining Light. This was a really hard one for me to write because it just took me back to that time in 2018 when I faced the darkest period I've ever had in my life, when I was diagnosed with clinical depression and extreme anxiety. Neither of those are typically a part of my personality, but for a season in 2018, it completely enveloped me. It was overwhelming. It was dark. It was ugly. It clawed at me so that I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I felt hopeless. And it's the only time in my life that I have ever felt hopeless. And there have been a lot of things that have happened that you would think I would be hopeless, but this is the only time. And it was so much bigger than who I am in my personality. And I felt completely separated from God. And there were days that I felt like he had forsaken me. But when it was over and I was better, and I looked back over that time, and that was much later because I did not even want to think about it. And I did journal, and to be honest with you, if I hadn't journaled, I don't even know how much I would remember. There are a lot of things that I don't remember, and that they come up and I still draw a blank. But I did journal what I was feeling and some of the things that I went through. And so I was able to piece together that God was always there. He never left me. He allowed me that season, and I know why now. I understand why he allowed that. I couldn't have told you then. But seeing his hand carrying me through a time that I didn't think I even wanted to live helps me to know if it ever happens again, he will be there. Hopefully I'll remember that. Hopefully I won't go through it again. That was horrible. But the northern kingdom of Israel was also in a very dark place. They are once again in captivity. They have not listened to God. And chapter 9, and we start with verses 1 and 2. And I'm also going to read 5 and 6 when I read it. But chapter 9 of Isaiah offers a promise of a future blessing, but it also offers the reality of the then present judgment that they were facing because they weren't obedient and they didn't listen to God. So we're going to talk about that because they're facing judgment. Our judgment comes through Jesus, and Jesus took on our sin on that cross. So let's read verses 1 and 2, and then I'm going to go to 5 and 6. So 1 and 2 in chapter 9. Nevertheless, there will be no more gloom for those who were in distress. In the past, he humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, but in the future, he will honor Galilee of the Gentiles by the way of the sea along the Jordan. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. And skipping ahead to 5 and 6. Every warrior's boot used in battle and every garment rolled in blood will be destined for burning, will be fuel for the fire. One version uses the term of verse 5. There's no more garments of war. Because in verse 6, for to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Those terms are so important for who Jesus is. He's the Wonderful Counselor. He's exceptional, distinguished. He is without peer. The one who gives the right advice. Mighty God, he is God himself. Everlasting Father, he is timeless. He is God our Father. always. And Prince of Peace, his government will be one of peace and justice and righteousness. So the darkness is there, but God is promising that the darkness will leave. This judgment will end. When this child that will be born, the wonderful Counselor, Prince of Peace, mighty God, everlasting Father, when he comes, this Messiah, he will reverse the stigma and the shame from Israel, and he's going to usher in an era of peace. No more garments of war. Verse 5 in Isaiah. He will be the Prince of Peace that we will one day have. Can you imagine the complete peace that we will have when we are in heaven walking with Jesus? I can't even imagine how beautiful that will be, but that is our hope. When things are dark, and things are dark for so many people that I know right now, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, people are facing some really hard things. And I don't know what it is about this season that makes it that way, but it is that way. And here's the good news. If you find yourself in a season of darkness, if you are facing illness or spiritual attack or spiritual weakness or questioning, if you are having mental health issues or physical health issues, God is still there. He is brought us the light of Jesus. And that light will allow us to be whole, complete, and in heaven with him one day, where he will rule with peace and justice and righteousness. And the love will be even more than we can imagine right now. And it's pretty good right now. That's our hope. So I hope if you're feeling not Christmassy this year, it's okay. You don't have to, because that cross is for everyone, regardless. And if your celebrations are small or not at all, it's okay. Jesus still came, and he still went to that cross, and he did it for you. So I hope you can rest in that today. Tomorrow, oh, and I always forget to give the fulfillment. Fulfillment is in Matthew, chapter 4, verses 12 through 17. When Jesus heard that John had been put in prison, he withdrew to Galilee. You've heard that word today. Leaving Nazareth, he went and lived in Capernaum, which is by the lake in the area of Zebulun and Naphtali, to fulfill what was said through the prophet Isaiah. Land of Zebulun and land of Naphtali, the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The people living in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, on those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. And from that time on, Jesus began to preach, repent, for the kingdom of heaven has come near. I hope you have a wonderful day. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about a different kind of king from Micah 5:2. Have a wonderful day.